Yeah, apologies for being here again in the same day. I'm not sure what a fishbowl workshop means, but anyway, I will, I will talk about the CureCMT network. This is actually an idea that started after the Paris meeting 2 years ago. That was the inspiration, because we realized that we have to get different types of stakeholders together if we're going to make any difference. So we thought a good instrument to do that is the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action Doctoral Networks. This is basically a European Union funding scheme that promotes excellence in research and targets young researchers with mobility across borders and exposure to different sectors. So it funds organizations and doctoral candidates. It has to be international, intersectoral, interdisciplinary, improve employability by providing entrepreneurial skills, and also promote collaboration. So why do we think this is suitable for CMT neuropathies? We have heard some of the challenges here. So we need future expert leaders, both scientists and clinicians in the field of CMT neuropathies. So that's what we try to address here with a multidisciplinary expertise of leading experts and educators to cover clinical, social, and economic outcomes as well. We also see that there is a need to establish effective gene therapy approaches. And we also have many different mechanisms. You have seen some examples today that require individualized strategies. So we need effective gene delivery methods to peripheral nerves, to neurons, or to Schwann cells to provide proof of concept in different models. We also have the problem of rarity for most CMT types, which discourages industry investments. And so we want to evaluate the cost of CMT for patients and society in order to facilitate regulatory and policymaker decisions to make therapies accessible for patients. There is limited access to diagnostic testing sometimes, and also uncertainty of certain variants lead to diagnostic delays. So we want to create subtype-specific patient registries, not just general registries, and also address variants of unknown significance with collective data. There is lack of sensitive outcome measures that makes the design of clinical trials within a viable time for companies quite challenging. We've seen some examples. And so we want to also promote natural history studies and facilitate sensitive outcome measures, novel biomarkers, in order to ensure clinical trial readiness. So this project brings together various stakeholders. We want the CMT researchers who actually conceive and develop the therapeutics in the lab. Then we need the clinicians who have the expertise, they have the patients, they know all the outcome measures, they do the evaluation and collect data. We need socioeconomic experts who can provide the health economics aspects to the project. We need, of course, patients, because they are the main leaders, provide samples, participate in the studies, and also evaluate the outcomes. And we need industry. Without industry, we cannot move anything to the clinics. So that's the basic concept here. We designed the proposal in a way that we address different types of CMTs. We focus on rare CMTs, so we don't have CMT 1A, 1X, or 2A. We have the first work packaging looking at gene therapies for demyelinating CMTs. So we have 4 different doctoral candidates working on rare demyelinating CMT types. Then we have another work package focusing on gene delivery for axonal CMTs, either with specific treatments or with disease-agnostic approaches. Then we have the other work package looking at the clinical side of things, collecting data, establishing registries, natural history studies, and biomarkers. And we have a fourth work package on the economic and socioeconomic cost of CMT neuropathies for patients and society. Along with this, we have, of course, the training, the network-wide training, which complements the local training. This is another work package. And of course, we have management and dissemination, and I will go into more detail in a moment. So just to look at the geography of this project, we have 9 beneficiaries in 6 European countries. So these are the centers that will actually recruit the doctoral candidates. And we have also 10 associated partners, 3 patient associations, ECMTF, CMT France, and CMTA USA. We also have 3 academic, we have 3 industry partners, Armadus Bio, XD, RNA, and Agustin Therapeutics, and 4 academic clinical centers as associated partners. So a wide distribution and inclusion of different stakeholders. There is always room and opportunity for more participants. We also wanted to ensure that we do gather the multidisciplinary expertise in this network. So we have, among all the participants, representation from clinical neurology, gene therapy expert, molecular biology, neuroscience, neuropathology, biomarkers, imaging, economics, health economics, social studies, clinical trial design, and then also advocacy, social studies, law, management, public relations, marketing and business aspects, and regulatory aspects. So this creates an environment to provide a well-rounded training for future researchers. We propose at this stage to recruit 13 doctoral candidates. Each of them is employed for 36 months in the different institutions. And they also have time to visit other centers. So these are the secondments. And some of these secondments are in industry partners, which is very important. All of them are also exposed to industry. Very briefly going over the gene therapy approaches, the first work package for demyelinating CMTs, we focus on certain CMT types to develop gene replacement therapy, and on one dominant CMT type to develop allele-specific silencing. So we have CMT4C, 4B, and 4H related projects, and a CMT1B project. So there will be some validation in the animal models of the disease, and also development of the allele-specific silencing targeting Schwann cells. And there is collaboration between the projects in terms of using platform technologies, sharing vectors, and know-how. In the second work package, we target axonal CMT. So we have a project on CMT2L, CMT2A, and CMT2D. And there is also a project related to using the neurotrophic factor Klotho, which seems to be very beneficial for axonal degeneration in various models, to be used in CMT models for the first time. So that work package includes also a lot of in vitro systems, the iPSCs. Some of the work you have heard from Vincent's lab today will be expanded to other models and to train also other participants. And then there is a lot of interaction to use each other models and to use each other's technologies. So it's a real nice example of exchange and collaboration. This is the heaviest work package, the clinical trial readiness. So we have many leading centers involved here around Europe. So that's aiming to train clinician scientists to provide registries for rare CMTs. So we address from the clinical point of view the same CMT types that we develop therapies for, including registries, natural history studies for some of them, collecting biomaterials, skin biopsies, and so on, and also developing MR neurography. That's from Shahram's group in Marseille. And so these collectively Also, there is a lot of interaction between these groups and with the basic science groups. I will just go briefly. I already talked about the gene therapy challenges at the preclinical stage, but once we get to the clinic, we also have to face the reality that CMTs beyond CMT1A are becoming very rare, and they're also very slowly progressive. So these are the two main challenges for translating therapies to treat patients. So most of the CMT types that we talk about are more rare than 1 in 100,000. It is very difficult to recruit patients for natural history studies and for any clinical trials. And there is a very slow progression with all the evaluation tools we have so far. And this is an example from Chris Record's nice brain paper on CMT1X, showing very little progression over a period of 6 years. And much of the progression occurs actually in younger patients. So there is a lot of work, and I'm not going to go into detail, to develop clinical trial readiness. So that's some of the aspects addressed in this proposal, including clinical outcome measures, new biomarkers, blood biomarkers, and even skin biopsies. So that's something that hopefully will facilitate clinical translation. In terms of the socioeconomic impact, there is a dedicated group in Toulouse that will do that, and they are experts in health economics. They will create a model of what is the cost of a patient for the society and for the health system, the determinants of access to diagnosis and care for patients, and then this model that will be developed in France will be also transferred to other European countries based on the centers of reference participating in the network. So that will give us a whole across Europe idea of what's happening with the impact of the disease. Courses are very important for the Marie Curie network. So we have, in addition to the local training networks, we have also network-wide education, meetings, and summer schools. I'm not going to go into detail here, but we have 3 summer schools. The first one covers mostly clinical aspects, clinical trial readiness, design of clinical trials. The second one covers mostly technologies for gene delivery, viral vectors and other tools to accelerate. And the last one covers mostly marketing aspects, regulatory aspects, the point of view of patients, what to expect from the treatments. So we cover a well-rounded overview of the whole pathway. I will skip this slide just to say that we cover what is needed for a Marie Curie network because we have a nice complementarity between local and network-wide training and the multidisciplinary and intersectoral aspects. We have, of course, a management structure, but I'm not going to bore you with this. There is different committees that are responsible for recruiting the candidates, for the doctoral training, for career development plans, for public engagement and communication, for research coordination, and even for IP and exploitation committee, and there is a central network manager. So that's the standard structure. And of course, there is a lot of plans for disseminating to the scientific audience, but also to the lay audience, to patients, and through social media. So just to show the strong commitment of all participants, with their expertise, they will contribute to the training program. They will also host secondments for specific aspects of training that they have the expertise for. So that shows a lot of strong network interaction. And with this, I would like to thank all who participated in this proposal. So this has been going on since 2023. We will try it again this year. Last year, we got a very good score, but there wasn't enough money in Brussels. I hope will be luckier this year, but in any case, I think it's a good idea and a good model, and we can take it forward in other ways as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kleopas. This is, for me at least, I'm not a scientist, but it's breathtaking, and I'm overwhelmed. It seems to become the game changer and cover everything which is going to be done in the field of CMT in the future, at least in Europe, but also with the transatlantic partners. We wanted to present, after this conference, a model joint project. I would like to take this as a model joint project, but it's so big. Let me ask one question at the beginning, and then we call it FISHBOWL. I'm not sure if you know the setting of a FISHBOWL, but anybody in the room can now come up here also to sit together with you, discussing that shortly. But of course, you can also discuss and ask the question and from the room here inside. Now, just by curiosity, there are so many things which you are organizing and setting up, including so many institutions and so many research centers, etc. Question 1A, what is the budget you are planning, and how much the EU Emulator program promises to give you when it's accepted? And 1B, why is it only for 13 students, PhD students? I think it could be for 130, because but maybe that's due to my naivety and lack of competence that I asked the second question.
Yeah. So I can answer the 1A. So it's about 3.5 million. It's a complete contribution of the EU. So overhead research cost and the salary of the researchers. And there is a maximum of 15 doctoral candidates, because there is a maximum of person months that can be employed. Okay. Everything is driven by the number of doctoral candidates, because everything relates to them. Okay. There is a coefficient for each country. So for some countries, they are more expensive, for some of them less, but that's how it's calculated. It's simple, actually.
Thank you very much. Okay. Any other questions? René Westhovens.
Yeah, René Westhovens, for all clarity, I'm not a neurologist, I'm a rheumatologist. And first of all, I think the biggest thing you can do is indeed motivating young people and bringing them enthusiastic for the work. This is the key, yeah? And you need some money for that, but not only for paying them, to make them enthusiastic, I think. I go back, 3.5 million is a lot, but it is not a lot for doing, for instance, you cannot even not doing a proper trial for 3.5 million. I give you the example. I started as a rheumatologist in '84, and I will comment this tomorrow. And actually, that was before the EU had money, so we had no money. Yeah? And the first thing we did, and this is important, and it's also in your goals, the first thing we did, I went together with some Dutch people, and we were funded by the Dutch government with 50,000 gulden. 1 million gulden means 50,000 euro. Yeah? Not too much. Huh? You cannot do anything for that. And the only thing that why they were interested to give us this money was to measure costs for patients and for government in the initial phase of the disease. Brings me to two questions. Huh? You have a rare disease, so even, rarer than rheumatoid arthritis. We started to do things in early disease, initial disease. So that means how can you stimulate the finding of early patients to enhance the diagnosis in early cases to make sure. This is a critical one. And why? Because you narrow your lab situation. Huh? If you bring patients with 1 year and 10 years disease duration in the same protocol, you will have a lot of gray and a lot of confounding. So I think there should be done something for early disease and then follow them prospectively, whatever you do. And actually what we did, we got 50,000 euro. We started with the Dutch and 15 centers to start to discover and to start with all early diseases, the earliest we could find them, and find them prospectively. So we measured cost, of course, because that was asked for. And in the same time, you can do something. Whatever that you can do at that moment. At that time, we had no proper drugs. But we started to treat them or to follow them. It means following was more passive. Huh? We followed them in their deterioration. Treating them with what was available. And actually, we found out that treating them, and it was very low-cost drugs, was better than just following patients in their deterioration. And that changed paradigms. So it is, I think, important to keep this in mind for your future. I don't know if you can comment on that, because...
Yeah, I mean, there are already existing networks like the Inherited Neuropathy Consortium and the ERN networks that we discussed yesterday, but they're not necessarily focusing on specific types that we need. And of course, we know we have to treat patients as early as possible, but treatments are not initially tested in children, and so it needs to follow the pathway that is usually followed. So, yes.
Alex?
Yes, I just want to thank you, give you a huge thank, because it's a huge work you did. Thank you very much, Kleopas. I think it's a perfect example of collaboration between all the stakeholders in this room, in fact, because if we have the grants, we will work 3 or 4 countries, many organizations, so thank you for that. I think it's a perfect example of what we should do in the future. Yeah. Thank you.
We're open to anybody who wants to support or participate or give us ideas.